All right, guys, what's going on? Yet again, welcome back. So today, I wasn't planning on doing a video because it's something I want to knock out real quick, but I just took off the headlights on the truck here because if you guys were aware, it had an aftermarket set of lights. These right there. They're called the Akon, whatever, A-K-K-O-N. And if you guys have used these headlights, it's pretty mediocre output, even when you upgrade the low beam LED bulb. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install some projectors, not just any projectors, LED projectors. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. I am not gonna post how to take the headlights on or off because there's some other video on YouTube that shows you how to do it, but Clip Notes version. Gotta loosen up the grill here, the tabs. It's like 3 screws right here and pops right out. Easy as that. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven to 210 degrees. And while that happens, I'm gonna see the current outputs. And I'm also going to aim the current headlights at the wall and do reference points with a cutoff line so that when I put the LED projectors in there, I can match that cutoff line and then put it on the truck and aim them properly. That way I'm not blinding incoming traffic. My headlights aren't doing the chameleon eye thing, one up, one down, all that crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and get to it.
Product sponsor for this video is Extrusion Overland. Visit extrusionoverland.com for all your modular bed rack and cargo solution needs.
All right, so I have my little makeshift jig set up here because I want to see exactly where the cutoff line is, right, on these LED bulbs and these headlights in general. So I just use my toolbox here, use this little jumper box, and jerry rigged it there. I don't recommend you guys do this. If you guys have alligator clips with a separate power supply unit, go ahead and do it. But all I really need to do is get a reference point right here to see where it's gonna line up. Coincidentally, it lines up with that first line there, the garage line doors, or the garage doors. So I'm gonna use that as my reference point. And when I put the actual LED projectors inside of this, I'm gonna line them up exactly to that. What that means is once I mount them onto the truck, they're gonna be as close as possible to factory specification so that I'm not, again, aiming these lights everywhere, blinding people. You know, it's just the best possible output and better quality light. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 210 degrees. It's not gonna melt the housing completely. I'm gonna lay a towel there on the cookie sheet and just take these headlights apart, all right? Let's go ahead and do that now. All right, guys. So I'm on to the next day of this headlight job because I work freaking 12-hour days and my truck's been without headlights for about a week, right? So I got a weird schedule, long to explain. Anyways, I just preheated my oven to 210 degrees, which is a safe temperature for these headlights. I'm gonna put them on top of a cookie sheet or a baking sheet with a towel underneath. 210 degrees is not even hot enough for a flash point with freaking, I don't know, like paper, you know? So that is just the right temperature right there that I don't have to worry about melting anything, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and stick these headlights in the oven, take them apart, and then I'll show you guys the rest. Guys, one thing I forgot to point out about these headlights, because they are aftermarket, they are not OEM quality or OEM grade. What that means is this plastic here, the housing or the bucket, you want to call it that, it's a lot more delicate. So when you are prying this open, you are going to see some cracks. Right here, I did crack it, and you can see my finger out through the other side there. Okay, and another thing too, OEM headlights are going to have little screws on the back around the rim here. You know, normally it's like 4 or 5 screws depending on the size of the headlight. This one, like many other cheap aftermarket headlights, don't have it. Okay, so it's just held on together by butyl rubber, which is pretty much what they use to seal windshields. All right, guys, so just be very careful when you're doing this. if I break something, I have the luxury of waiting for another set of headlights because I don't daily my truck. It's literally just to off-road in. All right, so if you are doing this, make sure you take precaution and don't mess them up, all right? So this is the first time I encounter square shaped projectors. All right, so what I need to do is find a way to get rid of this projector here and fit this round one and make it adapt well so that it attaches to the back. So I might have to jerry rig something on the inside that you guys won't be able to see when you see them in the trails, but I know it's all jacked up on the inside, but as long as it works in my case, it's all that matters, okay? So I'm just gonna figure something out right now and let you guys know what I come up with, all right? All right, so it looks like I'll be able to use this mounting plate as a reference because it already has the holes lined up, and these holes line up to the bucket right here. So I got 3 holes there. Just have to line that up. I might have to cut this opening, make it a bit bigger with a Dremel, you know, but it's good news so far. I don't have to fabricate my own bracket because this is exactly, or not exactly, but I was gonna do something similar to this anyways. I was gonna go get some sheet metal and line up the holes just to adapt it to the housing and go from there, all right? And hopefully I don't have to Dremel out some of the actual housing because it's nice, it's black, the finish is smooth. You know, if I mess something up, it's gonna look a little bit jagged, but it's not gonna look too bad, all right? But yeah, this projector setup, it's not ideal, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking measurements of this and see what I need to cut out to get everything lined up. All right, so it looks like I might be able to just skip this whole metal plate thing completely because it is gonna be an extra step. And because this is plastic back here, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna notch it a bit up in the corners there and use either some JB Weld or some plastic bonder, all right, to hold it in place there. And I've had very good luck with this stuff right here with previous headlights I've built, and I've done stuff like GTR headlights, Tesla Model S headlights, G37s, 370Zs, you name it, guys. You know, so I'm pretty confident that that little $10 piece of material from JB Weld is gonna hold great. You know, as cheap as these headlights are, I'm actually pretty surprised by their thoughtfulness to at least make some type of decent product. You know, you could get these brand new for about $300 to $400, and like I said, they are cheaply made. But this little plate here that I was about to demolish, I don't know if you see it right here, there's like a little step, right? So what that is, it's your cutoff line when you're on the here you go, this way. When you're driving and you see a lot of projector headlights or LED headlights, you'll see a line come up like this, steps up, and it goes this way. That is meant for left-hand drive vehicles, and the reason the left-hand side has a step down and not the right-hand side is because when you're driving towards incoming traffic, this is not going to be aiming at your incoming traffic's faces, right? So you're not going to be blinding them. Okay, if it were a European version, it'll be the other way around. The cutoff line will be taller on the left-hand side versus the right-hand side. All right, so sorry about my hand puppets. It's the best way I could explain that to you guys. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the company Akon. It's A-K-K-O-N. They went as far as to take that into consideration. So props to them, but the output is completely horrendous, guys, which is why I'm doing this. All right, so let's get back to work. I got my safety glasses on. I'm gonna use this carbide bit on the Dremel just to score it, you know, have something for the JB Weld to adhere to properly and do a mechanical adhesion instead of not just a chemical adhesion. When you guys are using the steel stick from JB Weld, make sure you have gloves on. This stuff is sticky and it's not hard to get off your fingers, but it is annoying. All right, so all you gotta do is take a small piece, knead it real well, seal it up so it doesn't harden on you. Start working that compound, make it mix. There you go, see it starts to blend in, changes color. It goes from gray and black to a dark gray. You're gonna feel it heat up a little bit, all right? I hope this works. Hopefully I don't experience, you know, projectors falling off somewhere on the trails. Smear that on there real good. Just gonna hold it like this for a few minutes until it starts to harden. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. And it's already hardening. And what you want to do too, make sure your lines are matching up with the housing, right? So your vertical lines match up with the vertical, horizontal lines match up with the horizontal lines as good as possible. All right, trying to do the plastic bonder now. This one is black and it's awesome for metal on metal, plastic on metal, carbon fibers, you name it. All right, that's all I need for this. You go ahead and seal this right up right quick. There we go. And I got black, so it matches with the headlight housing in case I need to fix some tabs or do some gap filling, because again, this is very cheap plastic. All right, this sets in 15 minutes, cures in 30 minutes, so should give me a very good bond. All right, I just gotta bridge this onto the JB Weld. And just to not waste product, I'm gonna use every little bit I can, wherever I can. All right, so it's kind of cold out right now. So to expedite the drying process on this, I am applying heat with my little heater here. I propped it on some little makeshift stands to elevate it high enough to start drying this. All right, so right now it's still semi-wet to the touch. All right, but looks like the JB Weld is already solidified there. Held on pretty nice. For the demonize where the high beam was gonna go, I'm only gonna use the little cheap little $6 strips from IJDM toy that has a 3M adhesive on the back. I'm gonna take this off and just tape it inside on the reflector. That way when the LED turns on, it reflects inside the reflector and emits the red demon eye effect. Whoops. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lens back on. I'm gonna do a quick bench test after this. So I pretty much wired everything up on one of the headlights. I'm still waiting for the other headlight there to finish drying or curing so I could handle it and wire that one. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is reheat my oven to 210 degrees, put the lens back on this, and I do have some butyl rubber here. Show you guys a little roll right now that I'm gonna use to put inside the channel of the headlight, all right? And what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow for any, once it melts, it's gonna wrap around all the edges and stuff and really hold that tight in there. All right, guys, sorry, I got a little too close to the camera there. But yeah, let me go ahead and do that now, guys. I'll go preheat the oven and we'll start putting everything back together. So this is the stuff we're gonna use to put back inside the channel of the headlight. You guys remember all that little gunky black stuff that was creating kind of like a black webbing when I was taking the headlights apart? Well, it's this stuff right here. You know, you feel it, it's pretty tacky, and if you let it make contact with the rest of itself, it's gonna adhere to itself and it gets pretty messy, all right? So just unwind this and let me show you where to put that. You're gonna lay it down all along this channel right here. All the way around, get a good solid bead there. And just make sure that before you lay it down, you get rid of all the old butyl rubber there, okay? And also, I forgot to mention this, not every set of headlights that you attempt to take apart will have butyl rubber, okay? Some are nearly impossible to take apart in the oven, so you do need to cut them open. You generally see that with like Lexuses, Mercedes, Tesla lights and stuff like that. And that's got what we call a permaseal, all right? So you're gonna have to cut those open and be very careful with that. Sometimes you might get lucky. You'll be able to chip pieces of that off, chunk it apart, you know, but for the most part, permaseal you want to stay away from, okay? Most aftermarket lights from eBay, all these crazy cheap little aftermarket companies, they will have butyl rubber. I want to say about 90% of them, okay? I've never come across a set of lights that is aftermarket, or that are aftermarket, I'm sorry, that does not have butyl rubber. Okay, so I don't know, maybe I lucked out, but as far as OEM goes, not every set of OEM headlights will have butyl rubber, so it's not gonna be as easy to break apart.
You want to make sure that you use a set of clamps, or a few sets in this case, to compress the channels while the glue is still warm.
So now that everything is sealed up nicely on these headlights, I have one final step before installing them on the truck. I don't know if you guys can see it there, but the factory coating is starting to peel off. This is pretty normal, right, for these cheap headlights. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand these down, and I actually had this laying around. It's a few years old, but I've used it before on other vehicles and it works wonders, guys. Again, this is a very cheap set of headlights, so I'm not too concerned about how it's gonna come out, but if it comes out good, that's a bonus, all right? So let's go ahead and get started with this. We're gonna start sanding it down, and then we're gonna go ahead and lay down the UV coating and wait for it to dry, and we'll sell them in the morning. So these headlights actually came out better than I imagined they would. All right, so now I just have to wait overnight for the sealant to cure, because I just sanded down the lenses. As you guys saw how much clearer they are. I got that nasty factory film off of them. It was already starting to peel, right? So once the sun comes up tomorrow, I'm gonna go ahead and do one bead of weatherproof sealant. You know, you can buy that stuff at Walmart. It's what people use for windows, bathtubs and such. And I'm gonna install them tomorrow. Okay, unfortunately I can't do that tonight. I'm beat, I need to go to sleep and yeah, dream about these hopefully working. All right, so I'm gonna install them tomorrow, and I'll possibly have to wait for nighttime to give you guys a sneak preview, and that's gonna be, I guess, the ultimate test right there, guys. It is what it is. I'm already this deep in. I can't go back. If I messed them up, oh well, we'll see what happens. Good night.
While I had the grill off, I decided to spray some foam cleaner on the radiator and the AC condenser, and I hosed it down now that we're nearing some warm weather. As for the brightness of the headlights, I couldn't be happier considering these were upgraded with spare parts I had laying around. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see upcoming videos, and till the next one.